For much of the summer, we've been examining some of the roadblocks standing in the way of clean energy becoming mainstream.
They're using the same tactics and the same laws as the gas companies were. It feels like an extractive project.
Nuclear power is the cleanest method of generating electricity that exists.
For years, the biggest hurdle for families and businesses to go solar has been the upfront cost.
A few excerpts from some of the stories we featured, from PR problems plaguing nuclear to a snapshot from a rural valley that's getting ready for a solar boom. Series producer Kirk Sigler is here with me from our Denver bureau. Hey, Kirk.
Hey, Aaron.
Those are just a few of the issues that were raised in the 6-part series that kind of unofficially wrapped up yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much to cover. I feel like at some point we're barely scratching the surface. But if you step back and you take a look at the entire system, there's really this one big overarching roadblock. So are you ready for this?
I think I'm ready.
Okay. Us. Culture. At least that's the theory of Michael Potts. And he says for the last 100 years or so, we as a society have been building out and fine-tuning this cheap, efficient, and reliable system, all based on fossil fuels.
Imagine if we were trying to build out the internet and there was already an internet there that gave you all the same benefits and probably just had a few environmental negatives to it. That's what clean energy is looking at.
Or basically up against.
Now, we should say that's Michael Potts, president and CEO of the Rocky Mountain Institute.
Right. A lot of our listeners were going to know the Institute best from its founder and basically godfather of the green movement, Amory Lovins, up in Snowmass.
All right. So Michael Potts basically giving us a good analogy that we can't refuse, essentially that it's really hard to change.
Yeah. I mean, Potts thinks it's entirely possible, though, if not essential in his mind, if you look at the science and predictions around climate change. So he's come up with this three-pronged approach. Consider it like a big proclamation for how to tackle the cultural and systemic barriers in front of clean energy. So pillar number one, the very first thing that has to happen is this highly technical, complicated pitch. Potts says we have to tone it down.
In the 20th century, we built out all of this capability in the energy system, but we really weren't looking at how efficient it was. Well, you could call it the get-her-done century. And now what we're trying to do is go back in and redesign all our buildings and cars and everything else so we use energy in a good way.
So essentially, Potts is saying it makes no sense to try and make renewable energy sources feed what he says is an already obese system, which brings us to pillar number two. That obese system, his words, not mine, is structured all wrong, and the rules and regs are all such that energy companies are locked into this huge centralized system that distributes power.
A better energy system would be if we could make the utilities more like Google than like IBM. If you look at Google, what they do, or Craigslist, they make the benefits of the network available to everybody.
So then are we talking about, going in and twisting arms at Google, getting them to get into the energy business?
Never say never. I mean, they're in so many other, they have tentacles in so many other business sectors. But in this case, what he's talking about is this Google-like centralized energy system which would accept energy from everywhere, all around the country, and then be able to transmit and sell energy from everywhere, to all of us. Kind of like a big network manager. And this is sometimes called a smart grid, and it's similar to what Xcel Energy is setting up in Boulder locally here.
It's absolutely silly for you to pay someone a bill for creating power at a remote site when you could take energy off of your own roof and power your house in it. Most people don't know how to do that. And if the utility evolves to where they help people source and access local energy and use local intelligence, then we're going to have a much cleaner system and much more secure.
So you have to kind of change how the utility looks at doing business in some sense, because on its face, an investor-owned utility who answers to the shareholders wouldn't enjoy you or I putting solar panels on our roof, because then we wouldn't be buying much energy from the utility.
That's exactly right. In fact, even more, the utility executives are paid bigger bonuses if they sell more energy.
Now, Aaron, some of this is changing, and we should also say it's not clear how profitable a utility really could be under this proposed system of them basically acting as a big consultant for all of us.
I think I smell a future series here.
Maybe, but in the meantime, in the interest of wrapping this one up, you are probably dying to know what Pillar 3 is, I bet.
I have not stopped thinking about it for at least 2 minutes.
Okay, well, Potts says we have to have a skilled workforce. He says more people need to be trained to build turbines or retrofit buildings, as an example. And some of this is also already happening here locally, too.
The clean energy economy hopefully will bring a lot of the energy generation to communities. So we need more people that know how to implement and maintain solar systems, wind systems. And as these penetrate into the actual neighborhoods, it's going to create a lot of jobs for people that help us live better lives, but do it locally.
And then, of course, Michael Potts, CEO and president of the Rocky Mountain Institute in Boulder, talking about cultural and systemic barriers preventing clean energy from going mainstream. Kirk, it's hard to believe this series has come to a close, but thanks so much for your work on this.
You are very welcome, and if I could get in a quick shameless plug, you can go back and listen to all of the stories in the series and read them in their entirety and look at cool slideshows and maps at our website, kunc.org.